bringing news from NAB to the people. HD SLR Shooter, brought to you by Akidio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, ICANN, JVC, SERP, Video Blocks, Carl Zeiss, and Xylite.
Hi, Clint with HD SLR Shooter. I'm here with Patrick of Adobe at NAB 2015. And Patrick, you guys announced prior to the show a tremendous amount of updates for all of the suites, it looks like, and all the different applications, as well as some new ones. Let's talk a little bit about, starting off, let's talk about what's going on with Premiere.
So there's something very exciting happening with Premiere and Color. We started connecting the color workflow by bringing SpeedGrade into the mix and getting a tight connection between Premiere and SpeedGrade and having exchange there. But what we noticed along the way is that most of our editors like one thing more than anything else, not ever leaving the application. So we really reimagined the way it's done, the way you bring the tools to the editor, and the way it's connected inside Premiere Pro. So now we have a new color workspace. So there are now task-oriented workspaces, which all by itself is actually a very nice feature. But once you click on the Color tab, you'll now see to the left the Lumetri scopes, beautiful new scopes, real-time. To the right, the creative part, where you have all of the new tools that are actually a mix and blend, if you will, between Lightroom and SpeedGrade technology, but very much for the better part a Lightroom user interface, or Lightroom style, I should say. It's not quite the same. There's a reason why video and still imaging isn't quite the same technically, but to the user we feel it shouldn't matter. So we're bringing something very familiar that should make you feel right at home basically the second you sit down with it. But it's got a lot of really great tools. So we've got the basics that you will find in Lightroom, but then there's a really good three-way, completely different from what you have had in Premiere before. Then you can very easily put in a vignette and fine-tune and tweak it, and a ton of other things. And of course there are the look presets that come with it. So that's quite great from the perspective of being able to do it immediately without any precondition. And on that note, you don't even have to activate it. It's an intrinsic effect, so as you go from clip to clip, it's just there. It's ready. You can start working. You don't need to think which effect to turn on and put onto that clip. So it's very intuitive, very powerful.
Let me ask you, now in the past when we utilized the Lumetri look in Premiere, we had to go back out to SpeedGrade if we wanted to tweak it at all. So now we won't have to do that, is that right?
You basically have both options. If you're a SpeedGrade user and you're working with an editor and you're going back and forth on the project XML structure, no problem whatsoever getting the Premiere project in and out and adding the color information. But the real deal with this new reimagined workflow is that the color tools are right inside Premiere. Now this is not, as I just said, not necessarily just SpeedGrade tools crammed in. They're reimagined so an editor would easily be able to understand and use them, put them to work creatively. The creative aspect of it is very important. The technology shouldn't be in the way, and that's exactly what the new workflow is about. If then you have a desire to do some more, because there's not everything that is in SpeedGrade in the new color workflow panel, if then you want to do a little bit more work, you can still direct link to SpeedGrade and come back in. So it's very much non-destructive and very interactive.
Now, After Effects has received some new things of face tracking, and this also goes into the character animator as well, right?
That's right. So the face tracking all by itself in After Effects is a great tool because you kind of loosely draw something around a face and then it will immediately snap to the actual features. It will track where the eyes are, where the nose is, where the mouth is. So if you need to stick something like a mask onto that face, but the eyes should still be coming through, that is easily done now because you don't really have to do anything but saying, here's the face and do the rest of it just for me, and I will decide that I will stick it to one of the facial features later on. So that's very interactive, very quick, saving you time. We're always interested in exploring these things that are somewhat tricky to do or a lot of tools needed to do it, and then we try to reimagine that and bring it in one feature that you can put to work and just be at ease because it's working and you can do a lot of things in very little time. It's also, as you mentioned, in Character Animator, and this is where it's amazing fun. So for those who haven't seen Character Animator yet, it's a new product that we have here as a preview. And you can use Photoshop files and Illustrator files and breathe life into the characters created in these products. So when you have a character with all of its layers, you basically just bring that into Character Animator, and then we'll do some rigging for you. So then if you point a camera towards you and a microphone, you will actually hear that character talking according to what you do. So if you laugh, the character is going to laugh. If you blink with an eye, it will do it as well. So it's tracking the face using the same technology the face tracker is used there to put that character into the same expressions that you give it. And you don't really need to think about it. So it's very intuitive, it's very fun, it's very fast too, but it doesn't end with the facial expression. So then you can actually rig the entire, we call it puppet, to do whatever you want it to do just by pressing a couple of keyboard shortcuts. So if I wanted to wave it with the hand, you can do that. Or if you want to have some dance moves, you just basically push it around with the mouse. So unlike doing everything in a lot amount of detail, and I'm not saying people shouldn't be doing that, it's art and I think we all love it, but the thing is, getting to a starting point, getting to do it at all, that's now easy and fun with Character Animator.
Yeah, I mean, I think the prohibitive thing, and most people have kept them out of animation, is all the keyframing and all that type of stuff. And I mean, with this, it's gone. I mean, I can't wait to start playing with it myself.
And on top of that, you can actually then use the output and bring that to After Effects, and maybe you'll do more. Maybe you'll put it into another scene. Maybe it's just a starting point for you. Maybe it's part of your ideation if you're a character animator in After Effects in the first place. So you get something done quickly, you can show it to your customer, and you get the process started in a completely different and indeed very fun and easy to use intuitive way.
Patrick, people want to find out more, they're interested, they're not familiar, what do they do?
Well, if they're not here, thankfully you're doing a video interview, but there is more. Blogs.adobe.com would be a good place to go. We certainly have everything that's shown here neatly explained to you in more detail with links to the various product blogs.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you.
HDSLR Shooter, brought to you by Akitio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, ICANN, JVC, Serb, Video Blocks, Carl Zeiss, and Xylite.